Before we start this video, we're really close to 1000 subscribers, so I challenge you to raise it to above 1000. Welcome to me mainly redoing my flawed old video and somewhat responding to BlaineSimples video where he even put my video in. I don't recommend people to watch it. I put a lot of effort into it, but I'm not too proud of what the actual information is about. That's why I'm redoing it now. And I say response, this is mainly just really late, as you can see. But also, Blaine, like he said, he didn't want it to go the normal way, which I understand, you know. There are only so many actual ways to get your AC high in D&D, and at least in my opinion, the ones he mentions are, I mean, yeah, they're special, I guess, but chances are you won't really be able to do any of them in an actual game. But also, the way he mentions he would do it a normie way, funnily enough, 28 AC as he mentioned, that's nothing compared to what we'll get out at. Also, even by his own math, it should be higher. As he said, 28 AC, plate, shield, together already 20, then defensive fighting style, Warforged 22, Shield of Faith 24. With ceremony, he would be at 26, and then a shield on top of that, 31. But anyway, let's get to how I would do high AC. First off, to set some ground rules, I'm gonna use D&D Beyond because I just like the website. I'm not sponsored. Look at my subscriber count, I'm certainly not sponsored. And basically, to tell you how I would do it, first off, no relying on other people. It might be possible to get even higher with the help of other people, but you cannot rely on them. Imagine fighting a Tarrasque. Things can get crazy, people get split up, and once they're gone, you'll be on your own, and if you rely on their support, then that can go south real quickly. And the other thing is, I try not to go for things that are really hard to get or are time-based, but obviously you'll see me how later go into them. But first off, here's our high AC boy, preset everything, and obviously, first thing you do, the very, very obvious one, take a Warforged. The integrated protection ability, just +1 AC to armor class. With that, they're already the perfect, or well, the best class for the job because they're the only class that gives any additions. The next thing, before anyone says, yes, you can just go Monk and or Barbarian for unarmored defense, get the manuals of quickness for example, and either find them quite often or make many of them, or just be immortal and read the same one over and over again. But like I said, chances are you will not be able to do this in a D&D campaign, in an actual campaign. On paper, sure, doable. But in an actual game, no, not really. Small interjection. I remembered from a few people that apparently there's a maximum cap on how high you can get your ability score improvements. And when I looked it up, I found it in the basic rules, chapter 7, just basic ability score and modifiers. And at least how it's stated here, even with the books, you will not be capable of getting it above 30. Unless your DM gives you the okay to go beyond 30. By the rules, you will not be able to abuse the ability score improvement books to gain near infinite anything. As for classes, the only thing you actually might need for your AC, you don't have to take them, but one would be 3 levels into Battlemaster, minimum, if you want to get their bait and switch ability, which allows you to swap with an allied creature, which I said, no relying on others, but this is a simple thing. You could use a familiar for it. You can use this ability and get AC equal to a roll of your superiority die, which starts off as a d8. And if you were to go further into the class, you could increase it, but for now I'm just gonna assume you only go 3 levels into it to just get the ability. Then same thing for Bard, 3 levels into Bard, go College of Swords for Blade Flourish and the Defensive Flourish. Same as with the Battlemaster bait and switch, except you don't have to rely on other people. Also, your die is 1 stage lower, so if you just go into it 3 levels, you'll only have a 1d6 to roll for additional AC. And both abilities, once activated, go until the start of your next turn. Then to get to actual items, obviously armor +3 and shield +3 is the thing everyone's gonna think about. And yeah, plate +3 and the shield +3 already would get you on their own without the Warforged or anything else to 26 AC. But honestly, personally, I'd recommend, at least for the armor, going for Adamantine plate armor. Because Adamantine plate armor permanently makes you immune to crits. And once you get your AC really high, crits are really the only thing that can threaten you anymore. And the difference is just that you lose a +3 to your AC. But if you see the number we come out at the end, you don't really care about these 3 AC anymore. But anyways, then obviously Ring of Protection, which is our first attunement. Second, Cloak of Protection, second attunement. And the legendary item, which is probably going to be the last thing you'll add to your item list. The Defender Short Sword. How the Defender items work is, they on their own are technically +3 weapons. Except before attacking, before making your first attack with them, you can decide to, for example, lower them down to a +2. In this case, you would get a +1 to your AC until the start of your next turn. Or you could even go all the way to make it a +0 weapon, which would then give you a +3 to your AC until the start of your next turn. Next thing, obviously, just the shield spell. A +5 in those rare moments where your enemies actually manage to get through your AC. Also, it's a good protection against attacks like Magic and Missile that cannot miss. Then obviously Shield of Faith for additional +2. And well, the last thing I forgot to mention, which is probably one of the first things you would get, just when you take the fighter class at first level, when you get your fighting style, just take the defensive fighting style for +1. And before I go into actual character creation to show you the number that comes out at the end, you can get yourself a Shield Guardian, and if you have its Guardian Amulet, you can get yourself a +2 to AC while it's within 5 feet of you, which I don't like too much because it requires him to be close to you, which might not always be. Then there's obviously the Stone Defender. Just him being close to you gives you a +5 only for 1 attack. But like with Shield, it's not going to always happen, so it might be neat. And then there's obviously the Ceremony spell, but I especially don't like this one because you basically, to keep it up, have to marry and divorce every 7 days and then stay close to your broom to get just a measly +2. And before anyone mentions it, there's also the Feat Defensive Duelist. You can get it, of course, but Shield is just better in nearly every way. First off, Defensive Duelist only works for 1 single attack, and it uses up your reaction. And at the same time, until level 17, that's total level 17 of all your classes combined, Shield spell is just better, because only starting level 17 do you get a +6 to your AC with Defensive Duelist, while everything before that is most of the time less than Shield gives you or the same amount. So yeah, let's actually get a high AC boy up and see what number we come out at. And well, with that, that's already our high AC boy with well, Warforged, defensive fighting style, then for now just plate armor +3, cloak of protection, ring of protection, and shield +3. Then something D&D Beyond unfortunately doesn't do on its own. +3 for the defender greatsword, then increase that to a 5 for shield of faith, and that up to a 10 for just normal shield. And from here on out we're already at a 40 AC, which, just to mention, is already higher than the highest enemy in the game can roll. So if we could just quickly go and look at the highest level enemies, obviously there's the Tarrasque, who has a +19 to hit. So obviously highest he can roll as of right now without critting would be a 19, so 19 + 19 is 38, and with 40 AC, as long as he doesn't crit, we're immune to him. And in case he crits, that's why I mentioned rather going for Adamantine plate, because if you use it, even if he crits, as long as your AC is higher than his normal attacks, he won't hit you, at least as far as I'm aware. But we can get our AC even higher. Like I said, with Bait and Switch and a defensive Blade Flourish, we can, on a minimum roll for both of 2, would get our AC to 42. And on a maximum roll of a 6 and an 8 on the D8, we would come to a 54 AC. And then, obviously, if you want to go even beyond, there's the Stone Defender for a +5 if you want to 59. Unfortunately, the Shield Guardian won't be helpful in this, because we already have 3 attunements, and the Shield Guardian Amulet requires another attunement. Though, if you have a Shield Guardian and you want to risk him being torn away from you or being destroyed, the Shield Guardian Amulet and the Shield Guardian next to you would give you a +1 compared to the Ring or Cloak of Protection. And then, obviously, there's still Ceremony for an AC of 61, which, like I already mentioned, is 22 AC higher than the highest thing an enemy can roll, aside from net 20s. If you count net 20s, then it's 21 AC higher than anything an enemy can roll, and with that, you'd be easily capable of just getting away with Adamantine plate to get rid of all those nasty crits. And technically, that would already be it, but I'm gonna still give you a few more tips, in case you actually want to do that, on how to get rid of all the other ways enemies can still hit you. And something I should probably have said at the start of the video: please do not do this to your DM. This is horrible. I did it to a DM a few years ago, and he freaking hated it. And even to me, eventually just got boring, because, well, surprisingly, if enemies are incapable of hurting you, you know, they start attacking other people. And if you want to be in, the tank for the group, then you want them to attack you. And if they can't hurt you, obviously anything of even decent intelligence is going to attack something else. But anyway, first off, I recommend going into Paladin, because of Paladin's level 6 ability, Aura of Protection, which gives you and everyone within 10 feet of you your Charisma modifier, minimum of 1, to your every save. So at best, that would be a +5 to any save you can do. Then, obviously, to take the most out of it, go a bit into Rogue, 7 levels, get Evasion. Also, you could go Monk for this if you want to, they also get Evasion. Which then, when you make a save, if you fail, you only take half damage, and if you succeed, you take none. So, you're not only going to be extremely hard to hit, but also it's going to be extremely hard to damage you with saving throws. And with that, to any DM who has to experience these horrible things, first off, I'm really sorry, but at the same time, there is one spell that does not care about your AC or saving throws, and that's heat metal. And if you have someone that does this to you, please just first talk to him, be civil about it. Easiest way to get rid of one of those characters, heat metal on him, and just have the caster run away or disappear into different dimension. But like I said, to the players, please don't do this to your DM. To the DMs, I'm sorry. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Thanks everyone for watching this. Feel free to subscribe. I don't think I'm gonna do too many D&D stuff, because over the years I've grown detached from D&D, and nowadays I just see it as mostly boring. But I might do more. I might do stories about my D&D characters, but that's it for now. And Blaine, I don't think you're gonna watch this, but if you do, I hope you don't take it as an insult what I said in the beginning. I really admire you. Well, anyway, goodbye!